Yeah, go ahead.
Yesterday, I have sent you a video on your WhatsApp. Have you seen that video?
Yes, that is an old video.
So,
That is on
so will
Zen.
you please explain? So, will you please explain why they are, using that stick to hit when they are doing meditation?
In the Zen technique, what happens here is that they would like to test whether the person is mindful or not. Hey, Matt, how are you?
I'm uh, I'm good, Velas. How are you? Hey, I'm working, so I'm gonna have my camera off, but I'm listening in. Okay.
Sure, sure, sure. Take care.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yep. So, in the Japanese tradition, that is a Japanese model. So, they generally check for the mindfulness. One of the way to check the mindfulness is to hit the person with the stick, and he should not react to it. So it gives two things. One, he is mindful. Two is that he doesn't get anger. So it is hit in a random. So you can't even make out somebody is going to hit or not. But that practice is not the right practice. It is never there in the Buddha teaching that you have to hit or do something like that. Yes,
Oh,
Atif.
okay.
Yep.
So now my next question is: I was thinking about Chitta, Chaitasik, and Asrava.
Okay.
So, sir, what is Chitta and what is Chaitasik and what is Asrava, and how these three are related to each other?
Chitta is the mind. What is called as mind is the chitta. Chitta is from root word chit, to shine. So chitta is that which shines. Abhasaram idam chittam. So chitta is shining with brilliant lights. So that is chitta. And chetasika are seven in number. So that is mental. They write it concomitants or the contents of the chitta. In the chitta, these seven are universal chetasika. So asa, vedana, sanya, chetana, like that, and until ekagata is part of the chetasika. Asavas are fermentation or impurities or latencies which are there due to accumulation of that in the chitta. So these are the three things.
Asrava and Sankhara both are same or both are different?
No, no, no. Sankhara has got nothing to do with asavas. Asavas are different and sankhara is different. Sankhara is the one which you do something. When you do it with an intention that I need to do this, I need to do that, is sankhara. So it can be a punyabhi sankhara, apunyabhi sankhara, aninjabhi sankhara. Ashutosh, maybe you
Okay.
can switch on your video, otherwise it will look everybody has switched off their
Okay.
video. Yeah, go ahead.
hmm Okay, sir. So I was reading about Asrava today, so that's why I asked you. And they have said there are three kind of Asrava. One is Kama Asrava, one is Bhav Asrava, and one is Avidya Asravas. So what Kama, Bhav, and Avidya?
No, no, there are four.
I know that what.
No, there are four asavas. So one is kama asava. That is your willingness to enjoy sensual pleasure is an asava. Then you have avasava. To become this, to become that is the asava, which is so vibhava vibhava. Both are part of the bhavasava. Then you have ditti asava. So the uh, viewpoints one takes perception is Ditti Asava. And then you have Avijja Asava, which is ignorance. So out of these four asava, the Ditti Asava goes at Sotapanna, then the Kamasava goes at Anagami level, the Bhavasava and Avijjasava goes at Arhat.
Rahat. Okay. Uh, One question from Visuddhimagga. In Visuddhimagga, they have described four kind of sila. This book talks about four kind. There are four kind of sila. One is called Pratimoksha Samvar, and then second one is called Indriya Samvar Seal, and then the third one is called Ajiv Parishuddhi Seal, and then fourth one is Pratya Sanni Asrit Seal. So how these four silas are different, and what like we are practicing five precepts. So what are these five precepts, and how these five precepts is different from these four, and will you please explain?
Visuddhimagga is a commentary. So it is a personal biography of Buddhagosha. So you can't totally rely on that. And he has added many things which is not at all there in the Buddha Dhamma. For easy learning or what he has experienced or what he knows, he has put it there. So you can't take it to be 100% what Buddha has said. Like there is only Sila and Indriya Samvara Sila. There is no other two kinds are not there. So when you establish Sila, and that helps you to what I can say, that helps you to guard the sense doors. That is Indriya Samvara Sila. The Sila, what you are establishing, that is the 5 Sila, that helps you in starting the Samadhi. The first thing in Samadhi is Indriya Samvara. So when you do that, it automatically helps you in Indriya Samvara, helps you in protecting the Sila. And hence it is called as Indriya Samvara Sila. Whereas the other two Sila, which is mentioned in the Visuddhimagga, is an experience of or some intellectual insight of Buddhagosha. It has got nothing to do with the sutta. You can't find those references in the sutta at all.
Okay. So we should read only the sutta. We should focus on sutta only.
No, it's not like that. You can focus on Visuddhimagga or Visuddhimarga. But the problem here is that it is a commentary. Let's say, Ashutosh, I write a commentary
Correct.
on certain aspect, and I explain lot of those aspect in what I've understood in from Buddha. If you really see Sariputta in the Khuddaka, okay, there is a complete exposition of Dhamma by Sariputta. It goes in pages and pages and pages of it. But that much pages is not there in the Buddha teaching at all. Meaning whatever Buddha has said in the sutta, it's not there. However, since Sariputta is authorized by Buddha in many suttas, he says that after me, the only person who can talk about Dhamma is Sariputta. You can go ahead and take Sariputta's explanation to be an experiential explanation. So, if you want to read commentaries, then commentary by Sariputta makes a better sense than going with Visuddhimagga of Buddhagosha. The reason is very simple. When Buddhagosha or in Pali Buddhagosha, went into Ceylon, which is Sri Lanka. There are a lot of what I can say books written both in Pali and Sinhala. What he did is to translate everything back into Pali. In the process, there are a lot of things which he has added. There's nothing wrong with his addition. It is a real good information. In fact, there are much clarity he provides than the original sutta itself. In some cases, his explanation is too good. Like in Burma, the Pa-Auk tradition completely follows Visuddhimagga style. Completely. It doesn't go by any other thing except for Visuddhimagga. So let's say if I follow Visuddhimagga, what happens? Anagami state is very easy. So if my target is to become an Anagami, you can go by Sariputta's commentary, you can go by Moggallana's commentary, and you can go by Buddhagosha's commentary. So it will help. Like the Ubakin technique, which is from Sayadaw. More than 70% of that is from Visuddhimagga. Okay, so and Pa-Auk tradition is 100%. It's completely Visuddhimagga. Now there is nothing wrong with Visuddhimagga, but one thing we need to understand, it is a personal commentary of someone. It need not be 100% matching with the sutta. So if you are going with the sutta way, you will not find that reference in the commentary. Okay, so let's take some examples. If you go on the Visuddhimagga and read Khajjaniya Sutta, or you read some other sutta which is explained by Buddhagosha, it goes tangential to what Buddha says. Like in an example about Vinyanam, Anidasanam, Anantam, Sabbatopabam. He explains it in a totally different way because his problem is that he is not able to understand between the Vinyana, which is there in the body, and the 6 Vinyanas which Buddha talks. So he will explain it in a different way. So now let's say I'm going by the sutta. Now I get thoroughly confused on what the sutta is saying about that and what Visuddhimagga is saying about it. Meaning from an intellectual standpoint, if I'm just reading. If I've experienced it, then it doesn't matter whether I read Visuddhimagga or I read whatever it is, I will not get confused. But if I am a person who would like to know more from a commentary, then the confusion is going to be there on many things, including the Kasina way, what Buddhagosha informs is slightly different than what Buddha talks about Kasina, even though it's Kasina. Some people hate Kasina itself and they say that it's not in Buddha teaching. It's not true. There are references in the sutta itself where he says one of the most effective method to get into jhana for those people who are not able to establish jhana is Patavi Kasina, which is very true. It's very true because I am not able to get into the Animitta stage. So for me, especially who is not able to get into it, Patavi Kasina is good. So then Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, Kasina, then the Neela, Pitala, like that. So 4 colors and then the white color. So when I get into the white color, what happens? It takes me to the 4 jhana. This is what I want anyway. So using Kasina is good. Some people hate Kasinas. Like if you go to Sri Lanka and then you talk to them and they say that no, Kasina is not to be done. Even though you show the sutta reference, they say that no, we don't agree with this. In fact, they go to an extent to say that it's been fabricated. That is certain sect of Sri Lankan people. So you have different approaches and different comments, different commentaries, different traditions. It becomes very difficult if you were to mix up things unless you have experience. So till you get to a certain level, like an anagami, it is better go by one approach. Like if you do POC tradition, if you're really good at, or if you want to follow the path of perfection or path of purification, that is Visuddhimagga, that will take you to anagami. You can't become arhat with that, but that anagami is good thing. See, my goal is anagami, then I have got anagami, that is good. Why I shouldn't do it? Who says that I have to only go with the sutta way for anagami? Not need, no, not required. So it depends on what is my goal, what's that I want to achieve. There's nothing wrong in Buddhagosha's commentary. Please understand this. It's very good commentary. Visuddhimagga, I have read it. It's a very good book. This I have read it more than 10 years ago. I think somewhere around 2007 or 8, I used to read Visuddhimagga. I used to feel very happy the way he has explained. The concept is very clear, crisp, very nice. But it suffers from a problem that you can't experience what he writes there. Like in some places, he talks about, like the Burmese also talks about it. They talk about how the kalapas, that when you go into it, they add abhidhamma portion of it. It becomes very confusing because you will not be able to see those kalapas, a patavi kalapa, apo kalapa, like that. You know what it happens? They say that when it breaks, it becomes like a, what we can say, like a soap bubble. Okay, you start to see like an ice cube or a soap bubble, and when you touch it, it gets completely destroyed.
In fact, I asked couple of teachers, and their understanding of arhat, their understanding of anagami is that let's say when you are doing vipassana, how smaller you can be. The more smaller your attention is, you are arhat if you reach that level of kalapa.
Yes. So what happens is, I will tell you how this has got changed. The original term uses ekagata. Okay. That changed into ekagrata. Ekagrata in Sanskrit means concentration. Ekagata in Pali means oneness. The huge difference between concentration and the ekagata. And it was retranslated with a different meaning, that is, with the meaning that as you keep on concentrating, it becomes so vivid experience that the more you concentrate, the more experience you get. So the Burmese tradition talk about how to make it subtle, make it so subtle that you are able to get the vibrations of everything.
And their subtle means smaller, smaller, smaller,
Yeah, very
smaller.
smaller. So to the atomic level. So Buddhagosha explains the atomic level of everything.
Yeah, that's why even Goenka is coming from that tradition. No? So Goenka also used that word.
Correct. So now what happens? You have a distortion between the sutta, which doesn't talk about atomic at all, to Visuddhimagga, which talks about atomic. Now you will start searching for that kalapa. Right? So now in your meditation, what happens is it becomes ekagrata. That is concentration. So they will focus on concentration. You focus on a concentration here, nowhere else. So your whole body is here, like that. It's not bad idea, but it's not what Buddha taught. So it starts to go like this now, because those kalapas are not there in anywhere explained. In Abhidhamma, it talks about the Javana Chittas. It doesn't talk about kalapas. You'll never find kalapa mentioned except for Visuddhimagga. It's a very typical term used in Visuddhimagga. So we have to be clear on what basis am I entering into the Visuddhimagga?
Then Suddhastak is what? Then who is given that Suddhastak word in pure Dhamma? Pure
Shuddhashtaka
Dhamma.
is there. Shuddhashtaka is there in the text itself. In the if you look at Abhidhamma also it is there. It is there in the Upadaya, Rupa and the four primaries added together.
Isn't it same thing?
Yes,
Isn't
it
it
is
same
same
thing?
thing.
Kalapa is
Shuddhashtaka is the same thing in terms of that you have a four primaries and the four derived from there. That is Shuddhashtaka.
Okay.
That means you can't subdivide it further. What Buddha did is he didn't. You have to take this way. In the Upanishadic tradition, there is a section which talks about the atomic. Okay, out of the Shad Darshanas, 6 Darshanas, one of the Darshana is on atomism. Okay, now in that atomism, you imagine, again, yesterday we covered visualize. Here you imagine that the Atma is atomic. Why? Because the body is growing, but the Atma doesn't grow. It remains the same. How? If you really look at the body, you can say, I am growing, I am becoming lean, I am fat, but actually your body is growing big, your body is growing small. You are not growing beard, you are not growing mustache, you are not growing hairs. The hairs are growing, you are watching. Even now, whether you follow Buddha Dhamma or you follow anything, this is the truth. So, taking this truth, can you see Gandhabba? No. And Gandhabba is of what size? Anumatteshu. That is atomic. So, the Upanishad talk about the undivided consciousness, which is like an anu, means atom. So, taking this atomic theory, they built it up, saying that if the consciousness were to depart, how does it depart? It's atomic only. Otherwise, it should be visible. So, what he says, Dure Santike. It's Bhuta, Dure, and Bhuta Santike. Bhuta is two ways of looking at it. The four elements are yet to be formed, and hence it's a Bhuta. When you say Mahabhuta, what it means is it takes a ghostly appearance. What is ghostly appearance is that it is neither Patavi, nor Apo, nor Tejo, nor Vayu, but still taking space. It's waiting for the consciousness to envelop it. So then it starts to form over it. And that should be atomic. How do we know it? Blastocyst, if you see on YouTube also, when the zygote happens between the sperm and the ovum, and after a few days when the blastocyst happens, it's anu only, and it starts to move. That movement is consciousness, obviously. But how did it enter? It is anu. So Buddhagosha goes on the anu concept, and the entire followers of Buddhagosha talks about anu. So you literally make that into atomic through your concentration. And when you become concentrated, the vibrations are seen, meaning the vibrations in the sense like a radio frequency, you can see this entire body just emitting vibrations, nothing else. and the other things what you're seeing is just a kalapa. So Pathavi kalapa means that it starts to subdivide, like it becomes loose things, loosely coupled. So it gets into the atomic structure and you can break that. Once you break it, you have reached the first fulfillment where the sixth sense door shuts down, and then you are sotapanna, not otherwise. The first time you do this, and the second time you do this, you are sakadagami. The third time you're going to do this is anagami. You completely destroy it, completely you are able to see it, then you are arhat. This is how Visuddhimagga goes on definition of sotapanna to arhat.
Then is that right or wrong?
It's wrong. You can't do like that. If you go by Visuddhimagga, yes, because now I'm following Visuddhimagga, I had to literally go by the kalapa.
Yeah, but thousands of people would have done that, right?
Yes,
Reached
they have
some
done.
point.
I agree. There is no doubt.
And
So
reached somewhere.
they would have reached. See, now this is where it becomes very, what I can say, it becomes very much clouded. Who is right and who is wrong? So now that turns it into kalaha vivada. Because
Yeah, as far as it goes for practice, this way of practicing helps to escape from the world. I can do properly enter into samadhi, so I use that. But at the same time, I also understand that I have to be open.
yes, so now if I do the vipassana of Ubakin, and especially Sayadaw or the Mahisi Sayadaw tradition, is completely built upon Visuddhimagga. If you don't know Visuddhimagga, you don't know Buddha teaching. Simple as that. Even in Sri Lanka, they believe completely on that. That's a reliable source of Buddha Dhamma. No other source. If you don't know Visuddhimagga, you don't know anything. No matter how much sutta you know, they don't consider unless you have mastered Visuddhimagga. So the choice is yours, whether you want to go on the Visuddhimagga route or you want to go on the sutta route. It's your choice. Now, there's no point in fighting with yourself. I'm seeing this, it is written like this, but I'm not getting it. They only say that you keep on trying, one day you'll get it. Which one day, I don't know. But that one day you will get it. But you should get it once everything gets shut down, like what SN Goenka says. It shuts down. So once everything shuts down, you will feel you don't exist. So then you are sotapanna. Then the second time it happens, it is sakadagami. The third time it happens, it's anagami. The fourth time it happens, it's arhat. How did he know it? It's by Ubakin. How does Ubakin know it? It's by Sayadaw. So the Sayadaw tradition is what talks about it. Yes.
Doesn't the senses shut down when you're in jhana anyways? So it doesn't mean that once you get into jhana, you become sotapanna, right?
No, it's not like that. So
No, I think Vilas explained it very well. And when I actually read again and again all the Jhana Sutta, I also agree with Vilas that jhana is not about, I use that word, disconnection versus disenchantment. It is disenchantment compared to disconnection. And all Hindu meditation is actually disconnection.
Correct.
Disconnection means you close your eyes and at one point of time, like you go to sleep, at one point of time disconnection happens. In Samadhi also they are waiting for disconnection. And disconnection is bodily reaction.
correct.
And jhana, nowhere disconnection has been explained. And actually there are words and where disconnection is explained, AN 9.37. There at one point they are said that chakku exists, rupa exists, but there is no saying something like that. So that means even in jhana, chakku and rupa exist clearly written, but you are not seeing, something like that. And what Vilas said is, you are mentally disconnected, not physically. That means your body thinks that you are not sleeping. Otherwise, when you go to sleep, your body waits for mind to shut down and then body disconnects. And in all the discussion, whenever Vilas talks about, he said that even eighth jhana, you can walk and talk. That was very new to for me to accept that. But slowly, I understood that how in eighth jhana someone can walk and talk. That's the difference between disconnection and disengagement. This enchantment.
Yes. So the idea is nibbida. It's not about going into atomic stages of consciousness and taking some other route.
Okay, so per Visuddhimagga, if you can disenchant, then you become Sotapanna.
But the problem is you will not get disenchanted, you will get disconnected.
Yeah, their practice is disconnection. Their practice is disconnection.
See,
Whereas,
what has happened?
yeah,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and the practice that we are doing, we are only confined to Tripitak, not written outside Tripitak. We will not do. Then practice is this enchantment only.
Correct.
Because we are understanding that we can be in jhana while walking and talking. That means the whole path is changed now. You are not waiting for body to disconnect.
See, one of the key differences and one of the key similarities between Buddha Dhamma and the meditation of the yogi, we'll call is a yogi or yoga. Okay. Yoga has three parts to it. The first part of the yoga is, what is yoga? To yoke, is to join. Okay. Now, joining what with what and disconnecting what with what is the question. So, the yoga is about disconnecting the outside and connecting with inside. Got it? Inner world and outer world. The outer world you drop it, the inner world you keep it. But in Buddha Dhamma, first of all, there is no thing called as loka. It is lujjati iti loka. That means what disintegrates is a loka. It's a total different thing between what the yogis speak about a loka and what Buddha talks about a loka is totally different. Now, there are suttas which talks about lujja. Lujjati, palujjati ti loka. Now, you need to understand it in a much deeper sense. Lujjati is disintegrating. Palujjati is completely disintegrating. Yes, Ashutosh. You are on mute.
So I want to ask you one more thing about, now we are talking about lok. So in samadhi there are two kind of samadhi. One is lokiya samadhi and one is lokottar samadhi. So in lokottar samadhi is going beyond this world, the world of five elements. Is it correct?
World of six senses.
The world of six sense. What we are doing here, we are also disconnecting with this
No, you are not
material world.
disconnecting. No, sorry, you are not disconnecting. What you are doing basically is you are seeing what are the senses and the sense object. So through Indriya Samvara, you are cutting the senses going behind the sense object. That means you are tying the senses to a pole. Like he talks about Chappana, the six animals. There's one sutta where he says that a meditator is one who will first bring these six kind of animals. He talks about a monkey and a crocodile, like, and a snake, like that. So he bring all these six animals. You not only individually tie it, but you have to tie to them to the pole. If you don't tie to the pole, then they will push themselves and somehow they'll manage to go away. At least one of them will pull the other four of them out of five senses. Now the mind goes behind all one of them. It can't stay without any one of these senses. If mind can stay without senses, then there is no problem, and the problem is solved. But since mind requires senses, what it does is that as soon as the eye goes, the mind also goes with that. When the ear goes, the mind also goes with that. The tongue goes, the mind also goes along with that. Now you have to not only individually tie it, you have to tie it to the pole. And when you tie to the pole, the senses get exhausted. So they can't run any longer. When they can't run any longer, they sit wherever they are. Now when they sit wherever they are, you are in savittakka savichara. Why? You have cut the mind from moving towards the sense objects. Then you get into piti, then you get into ekagata. You have become one with everything. So there's nothing called as eye from sight, ear from sound, and taste from tongue like that. It's
Yeah.
a conscious experience. Yes, Sachin.
Yeah, and actually, Asutosh, this is tough even for me also because it takes time to differentiate between disconnection and disenchantment. I was, if I was at just a few hours back, I was watching typical Indian TV serial, Saas Bahu, along with my parents. It is full of drama and full of shouting and this and that. And I could practice, this is not mine, this is not me. And it was really peaceful, as peaceful as I am doing sitting meditation. So this is the difference.
Yeah. So what is disenchantment? Enchanting are the sense object. So when you say that I'm getting disenchanted, it is like seeing the hole in the nose or in the mouth. There's nothing to get enchanted. If you see the nose without the hole like this, the dirt what you see in the nose, that you don't see, and you see somebody's nose which is pointed, or the lips being pink, or the skin being fair, or the flesh being filled up wherever it should get filled up, then the sensuality, when they say kama, is what it really means is that it's from two words kama. Ka is bad. Okay. Now, when you take the bad one in the sense what? It pulls the consciousness towards that direction where the senses will give that experience. So, the Buddha Dhamma is about cutting the senses from moving into the sense object. Okay. That is what he talks about Indriya Samvara. And that becomes Samvarena Sila. Means your Sila is so strong that it will work. Yes, Ashutosh.
So you are saying that we are only uh, restraining our sense door with the sense object in the samadhi state. Correct?
Not
We are
only,
not disconnecting ourselves with the sense. We are disconnecting ourselves with the sense object.
yes, absolutely. We are disconnecting the senses from the sense object means what? You are,
In the presence of sense object.
the sense
Correct.
object is going to be there. You are making it animitta. Animitta means signless. So you don't create a sign. Now, how do I create a signless? How you create signless? By watching the dhatu the way they are, not the way they are presented. How they are presented? They are presented like this body, which is enticing. When I see this body, the consciousness takes this body to be whole, as though it is real, which we have covered a lot of time. This reflection and the reflector, or the experiencer and the experienced, or the seer and the seen, or whatever way you want to put that as. It will reflect in both the places. So right now it is reflecting on this body, and hence when a rupa is shown, the person Puttujana will think that I am this body, I am inside this body, the body is inside me, like that. So there are 6 conditions he puts forth. Why? Because he can't see without the body. That is passion. That is raga, color. Now, if I don't want to be colored, that is, I want to be in viraga, what I should do is what? I need to first get out of the enchantment which is there. This Maya is the enchanting thing. So, the Maya is nothing but delusion or illusion creator. That illusion has to be removed. So, Buddha way of illusion remover is not through imagination, but through seeing it. So, there are only 2 things you can do: physically see what they are or visualize what they are. There are only 2 things he teaches. He doesn't teach anything on imagination. Whereas the yogis have 2 things in 3 ways. First way is pratyaksha, through my eyes. Second one is anumana. Anumana is inference. Oh, if this has happened, means this is possible. So I need to work out to get the pratyaksha. This I am seeing it through my eyes, pratyaksha. Through anumana, inference. Agama is testimony. Somebody has achieved it. That state. So I will also achieve it. So what you do is you suppress. So when you suppress, the defilements will not go. So they used to only do the samatha, no vipassana. Now what happens is, just like what rightly put by Sachin, you are not creating disenchantment, you are disconnecting it. So the power source is removed for some time and you feel, okay, I got it. So you are also on 8 jhana, the Buddha followers are also on the 8 jhana. But this guy has to close the eyes, whereas this guy is doing everything. He is walking, he is talking, he is sleeping, he is standing, because he has sampajanya.
That guy is sleeping in jhana.
Yes. So the basic aim of Buddha teaching is, first you do Indriya Samvara, then you come into what? Abhikante patikante sampajanakari hoti. आलोकिते विलोकिते संपजानकारी होती, समंजिसे पसारिते संपजानकारी होती. So you see, in every damn posture you are having indriya samvara. Alokite vilokite, you see this fun, just turn like this. It's not about concentrating on what is there. No, it is about what I am seeing is Pathavi, what is here is Pathavi, that's it. No ajjatta bahidda. So the 11 things have to be first removed. So that is atita, anagata, pachuppana, like that. Yes, Sachin.
Yeah, in fact, in English translation.
One second, Sachin. There is this Sachin who has come. He is from London.
You can call me Sach. Vilas, you can call me Sach.
Okay, Sach. Okay, go ahead, Sach.
Yesterday, I was listening the dependency of Srila Vishuddhi and Chitta Vishuddhi. They were focusing more on the concentration, the jhana. So if we go, it was saying like jhana mind is more powerful and it gives the good result. And in the jhana, when the factor is there, the explanation was like in the jhana we don't know actually. I'm confused, like the kind of concentration they're talking about in the jhana, like it's like a deepen into the ocean water, like we don't know what's going on, like we had a deep, and once we come out of the deep, then we know oh, like we were somewhere, we had some great experiences. So I just want to know, like, with this jhana, how we how we know how we can do the vipassana, how we can see the things, like if we are in a such a state, and by having in a such a jhana state, how we can see, how we can apply to see the kalapas or dhatus, or doing the vipassana like that.
Yeah, very good question. So let's understand
Yeah.
what. Yeah, go ahead.
Vilas, actually, what I wanted to tell is also similar. Actually, this I have observed that this English translation of samadhi is misguiding. Samadhi is equal to concentration. Samadhi is not equal to concentration, and
Correct.
concentration, there is nothing called concentration in whole Tripitaka.
Yes, absolutely. So you have solved my explanation to such that it's not concentration. Basically, it is from two words which I don't know why they can't properly put it. It is sama adhi. Is samadhi. Sama is equal, equanimous. Adhi is to stay. When you stay in a equanimity, you are in samadhi. Equanimity of what? Equanimity is not getting involved in the senses. That makes it equanimous. Simple as that. So the sensual lust, or the lust, is a Greek origin word which talks about lust means something which incites or entices or excites or throws up. These the words which can be used to say the senses provide that lust or enjoyment. Lust is also used in a very negative connotation in the Greek words, wherein you get into sexuality, which is also part of lust. So when we use this word called as kama, what it really translates itself is that going behind the sense impulses. What is that impulse? The impulse is to pick up and keep it, pick up and keep it, pick up and keep it. That's all what it does. Okay. Now, Sachin, such to explain to you on what you are asking.
You can call by surname. I am Sachin Sharma.
Yeah. Okay, I will say Sachin Bahade better. So, what you can really see is that there are four states of consciousness, which is also there in Upanishad, and most of it they take from there. That's the reason Visuddhimagga sometimes get very distorted. So, one is a waking state. Buddha also talks about waking state, but in a different way. He doesn't talk from the Upanishad way. Then there is dream state, and Buddha talks about directly on the dream state, in the sense that when somebody takes the five aggregates as myself, it is literally a dream state. Then there is a deep sleep state. Now, what you are going to get on the jhana is the deep sleep state wherein the yogi is awake but is closing to the world, and yogi is sleeping when the world is awake. What it really means, that is, you get into the jhanas by closing your eyes and getting into concentration, not nibbida, concentration. That is ekagrata. In all Upanishadic literature, there is nothing called as ekagata, oneness. Talks about ekagrata. And samadhi has got to do with ekagrata, because in Sanskrit language, samadhi equates to ekagrata. It's not the definition what Buddha is given on samadhi, what it means. It is from the Upanishad. So when RHY David, she took the task of comparing between the religions. Lot of words of Sanskrit got added into this, and lot of this went into that. So it became like You have taken what I can say, a fruit grinder, and now you have made it in such a way that now if you ask me it's a tomato juice, I should say that yeah, maybe one or two tomatoes would have fallen into this. Is it an apple juice? Yeah, it seems to be. I think one apple would have fallen from London when it came. So then, is it orange juice? I think somebody would have put orange also. Now, what is that? It's a mix of everything. So, Sachin, when this word is used that you have to concentrate, one second, Ashutosh, when you are supposed to concentrate, and that is when the kalapas come into existence. So, this is exactly what Visuddhimagga talks about. That you have to find kalapas. It need not be in English literature, because then she has taken from Visuddhimagga of Buddhagosha. So she did a lot of research, because when English were there in India, they had a confusion between the Jains and Bauddha. It was earlier the Indian classical text talks about Bauddha, and they doesn't talk about Buddha. They talks about Bauddha, Dhamma or Bauddha Dharma, because of a four sectarian which had happened at that time. So one is the Swatantrika, then the other one is Madhyamika, then Sarvastavada, like that. There are four kind of sectarian who followed Yogacara style of Buddhism, which is Mahayana. So now you don't know who is what now. It's like example I gave. So now you have this grinder, it has all kind of fruits are there inside it. You can't say this is apple taste and this taste and that. Everything is a tasty thing. Now,
Yeah, and the problem with many yogis attempting it, trying it, and they are saying it is blissful. And because they are saying it is blissful, they are somewhere wrong.
yes,
They will attempt that kind of meditation, and that kind of meditation is well tested blissful. But
yes.
not nibbana, not nibbanic.
Nibbana is not tasty. It is bland. It doesn't have raga, dvesha, moha. So if you're liking something, it means there's something wrong. Okay. Now coming back to this subject, is that if you are in a concentration, you will get into a stage where the body disappears. That is correct. Even Buddha talks about body disappearing. But three things should have happened there. Number one is that you should do animitta and create a nimitta, which you will never be able to do it. And second one, you need to say when you want to be back. And with this yoga, you can't do it. If you're gone, and you don't know where you're gone. So when they
Or
come back,
probably you need a teacher for that.
yes, because you don't know how to come back. You're gone, but somebody has to make you to come back, and you can't shake him up. So now the second thing is that somebody has to tell you how to come back. Okay, this problem. And when they come back, the third one, they know asava khaya jnana. But here, that person feels that there's such a feeling. Oh my God, I didn't know, the time went. It was, I thought I have gone only for 10 minutes. It is 2 days. Wow. The raga has entered, the dvesha has entered, the moha has entered. Not from the back door, from the front door itself. At least if it enters from the back door, we can say it is a front door entry. So the eighth jhana is a suppressing, or rather disconnecting, and due to disconnection what happens is that you get into a temporary suspension, like a deep sleep in waking state. Like when you go to sleep, if you wake a person up and say that, hey, tell me one thing, are you sleeping? He says, obviously. What were you doing in sleep? What do we do in sleep? Sleep. Yeah, I understand, but you should be doing something in sleep. Yeah, I can tell you. See what I did, you can also follow, right? I kept my hand like this and then close my eyes. Okay. Then Then what? I went to sleep. Now again you tell me, how did you ever achieve this sleep? I told you, no. I went on the bed. Okay, you went on the bed. Now I switched on the air conditioner because it's hot. Okay, switched on the air conditioner. Then what? I slept. So now this problem is there in the entire Vedanta. You can't explain what it is. So they say that this is something cannot be explained. Whereas in Buddha Dhamma, there's nothing called as something to be imagined. He goes into the extent of saying, if you are seeing this, then you are not seen that. So there's nothing called as unconscious existence. Everything is conscious experience. When you say conscious experience, it means that you are aware. So that no point in time the sati is lost. This is the difference between a Buddha Dhamma and non-Buddha Dhamma. So you can literally penetrate and see. Now this is what I understand. Yes, Ashutosh, you have been asking me for a question. Go ahead.
Yes, Sachin sir, talking about concentration. So I want to ask you, in yoga, to reach to the state of samadhi, we need to follow first pratyahara, dharana, dhyan, and then samadhi will happen.
No, it's not like that. First it is yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, ashtanga yoga.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So the dharana is here dharana means concentration. So like
Dharana is not
if our
concentration.
mind is
No, not concentration. So I will tell you how this works on this subject. First you have yama. Okay, what is yama? Yama is restraint. You have to restrain.
Panchasi. Yeah.
Like a Panchashila, you
Precept.
have your 5 of them. So that is ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha. These are the 5. Yama. Then you have niyama, regulation. Because this is a rule and this is a regulation. Shaucha, santosha, tapas, swadhyaya, ishvara pranidhana. So this 10 things you should first practice. Practice not by closing your eyes. Practice by working towards it. Now when you have established yama and niyama, you take an asana, sukhasana, that which gives you sukha, the third jhana what Buddha talks about, that one you follow, whatever that asana is, in whichever asana it is. Okay. Now when you have yama niyama asana, you are restraining the senses from the sense object, which is pranayama, not the breath pranayama. You are yama. Yama is rule, regulation. Sorry, the rule what you have set. You can't go out. I'm telling you. Here, you can't go out. What Vijnana is spoken by Buddha is in Sanskrit, it is prana, life force. So the life force is very important. You can't waste it. So you can't send it in whichever directions that comes.
And ayama means withdrawing, right?
Withdrawing,
The way you
yeah.
are saying.
Prana yama. Yama is the setting a rule. So the yama which is there, same yama on prana. So you will not make apana vayu to go out and the prana vayu to go out. So you will do lot of things to ensure that the senses are restrained in sense objects, perceptions. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. And hence you don't give food. That is pratyahara. That means the senses don't get any food now. That doesn't mean that the yogi will not eat. He will eat. But he is mindful of eating. He knows for what he is eating. When pratyahara happens, dharana, dhyana, samadhi is a continuous process. Now you take an object, dharana. Dharayami. Dharayati iti dharana. You take whatever you want to take. Now, you like in the Buddha Dhamma, we take the dhatu. That becomes dharana. You are doing dhyana on that. Whatever you have taken. Is jhana in Pali, Chan in Chinese, dhyana in Sanskrit, Zen in Japanese. The same one. Okay. But there's a difference between how Patanjali treats it and how Upanishad treats it. Upanishad doesn't go in this way. So Patanjali has done it a beautiful job to look at how this should work. So the sadhana pada, samadhi pada, vibhuti pada, kaivalya pada will give a complete glimpse of how you are in samadhi. But in samadhi there is panya. The panya, what the Patanjali says in kaivalya, and in Pali it is kevali. So Buddha uses the word kevali to see, verify whether you have reached or not, reached a destination or not. So dhite dhite mattam, sute sute mattam, mute mute mattam, vinyate vinyate mattam is kevali. Okay, or kaivalya in Sanskrit. Now, when I have taken dharana of that object, the dhyana being happening, the samadhi is established. There are 20 sutras which talks about the proper samadhi in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. The first chapter consisting of 51 shlokas and the second chapter consisting of 39 shlokas talks about how the samadhi is entered by someone. So it is savikalpa samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, both kind of samadhi is established. Now he talks about vikalpa. Kalpana is imagination. And in Buddha Dhamma, there is nothing called as imagination at all. So even in that front, it differs. Even though Patanjali has come very close to what Buddha talks about, still it is far away. Why? It's kalpana, imagination. So it's different. Okay, so if we combine many things, Ashutosh, it becomes completely a different dish for you. Now that's a dangerous thing. So you need to decide whether you want to go by the Yoga Vasishta way. That is 7 Bhumika. That's not bad. But the end result is Neva Sanya Na Sanya Ayatana or the Turiya state. Because in all Hindu scriptures, the Turiya is the last stage. Nothing beyond that. So you from Subhecha to Turiya is what it talks about. And also talks about the Vinyanan Chayatana, where the consciousness is seen everywhere. It also talks about space, Akashan Chayatana. It also talks about Akinchayatana. It also talks about Neva Sanya Na Sanya Ayatana in Yoga Vasishta. Now, if you want to go by the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the Kaivalya, what he's talking about is Neva Sanya Na Sanya Ayatana, which is Turiya again. So you will end up in Turiya. The best stage. That's the 31st level of existence, which is great. Good job. By the time you come back, the earth would have changed and the earth would have compressed, gone, again compressed, again gone and compressed and gone and compressed and gone, and you don't know how many times it has gone like that, because this is above the Brahma realm of existence itself. So you have crossed to landed on the top, hilltop. So you can put hilltop palace. If you are in Turiya, if you die in Turiya, and that's it. By the time this comes back, even to a Brahma realm of existence, it's asankhya, meaning in Sanskrit asankhyata. In English, it is undefinable. That means how many times the earth has got formed, how many times this world has collapsed, how many times the sun went off, how many times the sun returned, nobody knows. It's as good as deathless. And hence, Dalaka Maharshi is the first Maharshi who founded this Neva Sanya Na Sanyayatana. It's one of the difficult experience to have. It's not easy, but if you get it, you're done with it. On the 8th jhana, which is Surya. We'll get a glimpse of that, but you have to stay forever. That Surya state. Yes, Sachin Bahade.
Yeah, so the teachers of the Bodhisattva, they were in such kind of the similar samadhis, like the so with this, even they have the Vitak Vichar Priti Sukha Ekagrata, they could not see the kalapas arising and passing away, and the words coming, the objects coming through the senses, and the very very minute things happening in the process of um, sensation object and their object consciousness.
No, the Kalapa is got nothing to do with Buddha Dhamma. You're talking from Visuddhimagga. So let's keep that aside. Now, in each one of these, you will find that experience, like what Buddha has spoken in Chula Shunyata Sutta. You will experience the same thing in a different way. That's all. See the difference between a Buddha teaching and the Upanishad or Hindu or whatever that teaching you think. It's simple. The foundation here is that you are going in disconnecting the asavas, not disconnecting anything else. Through watching the senses from the sense object, knowing what they are, and creating a dispassion and for that disillusionment to it. Okay, if you have that, you will find the dukkha in that. So once you have penetrated in the dukkha, you will understand the anicca nature and the anatta nature, because you can't take the eye, you can't take the sight as yourself. Till that happens, because in entire Upanishadic literature, entire Vedantic literature, entire Yoga Vasishta literature, or anything, whatever you have, including Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the loka has a different meaning altogether than what Buddha says. Buddha talks about from 6 senses loka. He doesn't talk anything else other than that. Whereas the fight here is Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya or Brahman Satya Jagat Satya. Is that the loka is as real as Brahman. That is, the loka is as real as consciousness. That means the senses are as real as what the consciousness is giving it. That means the 6 consciousness is real. Whereas in the Buddha Dhamma, the 6 consciousness are not real. They are fabricated. That's the whole difference. And that's a huge difference, not just a small fraction difference. So if you suppress, you can enter into 8 jhana. Okay, and that's a good one. If you are able to establish in the 8 jhana, you will be reborn in 31st realm, which is as good as liberated, but not yet liberated. But that is a great achievement. To be honest, yes. It's not easy to get into 8 jhana, meaning I can get a glimpse of 8 jhana 5 minutes. No. You are in 8 jhana forever. Because at the time of death, you are already in 8 jhana, so you don't have loka. So what happens? It stays like in the anagami state. It stays in abeyance forever. Till the sanya comes. And you don't know when the sanya is going to come. Till the sanya comes, you are never sanya. But what's the difference? I exist there. The bija, the seed is there. That's what Buddha did not wanted. He wanted complete eradication of the bija. That is the seed. If seed is there, the moment you give an environment to it, it will grow. Vinyana bija. So in the neva sanya na sanyayatana, the consciousness is suspended, but it is not removed from source. It's like matchbox and the matchstick. You're coming closer to it. It is rubbing very slowly, very lightly. There is a rubbing. After some time, it heats up and now it is fired. So once it is fired means what? The consciousness now has got the perception. When the perception comes back, it establishes. Whereas he says, Vinyanam anidasanam anantam sabbatopabham. Unmanifestative. Whereas now it has got manifested. If it manifests, the dukkha cycle is going to get continued.
In the pratham jhana, like with vitak vichar piti sukh ekaggata, do we have the sati as well?
Yes,
To
absolutely.
know that these are the five.
Yes, you require sati, and for that you require sila, and hence, if you have seen the Samannapala Sutta, he first gives a complete exposition on sati, on sila. So he talks about the lagu sila, that is the very lighter sila, what we do, 5 precepts or 8 precepts. Then he comes to majjhima sila, then he comes to the long sila. And after you have established sila completely of what he has put there, then indriya samvara. Then after indriya samvara, sampajanya. After that, you get into contentment, which is santosa. Then nivarna, 5 nivarna. Then he talks about first jhana. So until all of this is done, he doesn't talk about first jhana at all. So when you're saying vitakka vichara, for experiential sake, we can try it out. But if you want to really establish it, you need to have the sila. Otherwise, it's going to break. After 10 minutes, you will not be able to do anything. You're out of it. You're out of that jhanic experience. Yes.
Yes.
One second, Bahade, Sharma wants to talk. Yes.
Yeah, but in jhana, the more you go deeper, the sati is the minimum thing. What is called the pati sati mataya, gnan mataya, right? In this sutta, Satipathan Sutta. It's like bare minimum mindfulness is the rememberfulness only, right?
Correct. See, what he says is that once you give up, that is, once you have understood Ajjatta Bahidda va kaye kayanupassi viharati Athikayotiva. This is kaya. What? Namakaya, Rupakaya coming together and forming like this with a thinking of Ajjatta Bahidda is the kaya. Athikayotiva panasasati. Now you have created a sati that these two are two different things. You have got nothing to do with it. Pachupattita hoti. That means you are able to see it for what it is. Yavad eva jnana mattaya. It's only for the getting the jnana you did this. Pati sati mattaya. To be bound with the sati. Pati is to be bound, bind. Sati is mindfulness or awareness. Patisati mattaya. Anissitocha viharati. Anissana is not establishing. Anissito means not established. Anissitocha viharati. Vihara is to stay. Anissitocha viharati. Nacha kinchi loke upadiyati. It doesn't create any loka. How does he create loka? By sight through the eye. Sound through the ear, like that. Please bring back that what we discussed on loka. Nachikinchi loke upadiyati. So the not even a little bit of loka is created with the 6 senses. Evam eva bhikkhu. This is what I call bhikkhu. Kaye kaya anupassi viharati. Anupassana has 7 stages. Anicca, dukkha, anatta, these 3 majorly. Then nibbida, viraga, nirodha, then patinisagga. So once you have patinisaggo, tanhakhayo, virago, nirodha happens. This is the step of Satipatthana Sutta.
And because the nibbana is not there, the mindfulness which we were using to get rid of akusala dhamma is bare minimum.
Correct.
And that's why they are calling it bare awareness.
Bare awareness,
Because
yes.
there is no nibbana.
Yes, there is no nivarana. Yes, so there are all the 5 nivaranas are completely eliminated. That means you have removed it. So you have to do the Satipatthana in 2 ways. Once I try it, it doesn't work out, then you have to go by establishing sati. To establish sati, I need to see why I'm not able to establish sati, because the sila is not there. To establish a sila, I need to see the danger of not having sila, which is also not able to establish the jhana. So if I'm not able to get into the jhana, it means at the time of death, it will come whatever random thoughts are supposed to be coming, and then the consciousness picks up that and then produces the necessary condition for it to get established. And I don't want it to get established that way. If I don't want it to get established that way, then I have to look at the Dvida Vitakka Sutta to cut the bad thoughts from coming and developing the good thoughts, which is part of Sammapadhana. So now I need to take that, then look into Duccharita Vipaka Sutta and establish Sati. Now if I come to the section of Kaya Anupassana, wherein says Sato va asasati, Sato va pasasati, Dhigam va asasanto, asasamiti pajanati, Rasam va asasanto, asasamiti pajanati, Pasam bhayankaya sankharam asasisameti sikkati, Pasam bhayankaya sankharam pasasisameti sikkati. Then I get into the section where I have to now see between what is Ajhatta Bahidda, and then experience the entire Kaya Anupassana, which is 2 kinds. One is on the Namakaya, Rupakaya. Now I have understood Kaya Anupassana. While understanding Kaya Anupassana, the Vedana Anupassana also will work. It is Duccharita Vipaka Sutta. I will send it to you, Bahade. Don't worry. It is Duccharita Vipaka Sutta. It is Anguttara Nikaya 8.40. AN 4.8.40. Duccharita Vipaka Sutta. Otherwise, I'll send it. Don't worry. So,
AN
8.40.
8.40.
Okay. So, basically, I need to do this much. Then the samadhi becomes strong, not concentration. The samadhi, as indicated in the Samannapala Sutta, that becomes strong. The first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. And he gives example. It's not closing eyes meditation. Please remember this. It's not I sit in one place and I sit. No. And what he says, after lunch, the bhikkhus will come, and what do? They sit and they start contemplating on anicca, dukkha, anatta. He doesn't say that close your eyes and now watch the sensation appearing in the head or in the tail or wherever it is appearing. No. He doesn't talk about that at all. But that's a good method. So don't take that it is a very bad method. It's a very good method, very effective method. So for that you need to add some things to make it the best.
Here, as per Tipitaka, the definition of samadhi is absent of nibbana. That's what I conclude.
Yes, that's correct. I fully agree with that, because if you are able to say in the sama adhi, is because that you don't have nibbana. So all the 5 nibbanas are gone. Anyway, good. We are at 10:12. Yes, last question before we close. Ashutosh, so you ended with all questions?
No,
Yes?
sir. No. Okay, I will ask you one more question. As we are discussing about this.
Wait. Let me finish Bahade. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just wanna complete that sati with vitak vichar piti sukha ekagrata. It means like we know the vitak is arising, vichar is arising, piti sukha ekagrata all are arising, and vitak is removing. We are in second jhana, so only 4 is there. So while while staying in this process, we know, observer know, this process is going on, this process is developing, this process is removing. Is that the samma samadhi with having the with sati?
Yes. So I will tell you how this whole thing works. So the first thing is vitakka. So there is this vitakka mentioned in like this. Chakuncha paticha rupecha upajati chakku vinyanam. First, you really have to understand what is happening between chakku and that is the eye and the sight. What is happening? The vinyana is grabbing. So it is creating an experiencer and an experienced in both the direction. Chakuncha paticha rupecha upajati chakku vinyanam. Tinna sangati phassa. So there's a contact. That is, the consciousness now is reflecting here as an object to be possessed on the I, which is the possessor. So I will say I am watching. So this watching is taking this and putting in the ayatana. It's like a collector. So I'm collecting it. I'm collecting the experience. Tinna sangati phasso. Because there is an experience, it should create a vedana. Seer and the seen, what is seen creates a vedana in the seer, in the eye. So, vedana, feeling. You feel, yes, I'm seeing this. Yeah, so nice. So, when you say it's looking so nice, it means that sukha vedana. I don't think so. It's looking very good. Today I didn't shave. It's not that good. That mental chatter is vitakka. So I will tell you where it comes. So now yam vedeti tam sanjanati. So whatever you feel, you start perceiving it. I start perceiving that this beard is not looking good on my face. I'm checking, yeah, then with this iPhone, it looks even more bad. Yeah, I should have done something about this beard. So tomorrow morning I'll shave it. But right now it's night. Not good. Looks bad. Yam sanjanati tam vitakketi. Whatever you perceive or whatever I am perceiving, that I, the chakku, which is having the perception that it is good or bad, is now thinking through the mind. Mind connects itself with the 5 senses and it creates that nice bouquet. Yam vitakketi tam papancheti. So when we are saying savitakka savichara, you are removing the worldly thoughts, that is, you delete the papancha. So yam vitakketi tam papancheti. Yam papancheti tato nidanam purisa papancha sanya sankha samudacharanti atita anagata pachuppannesu chakku vinyanesu rupesu. This is where it would have ended. That is, once I create a papancha means to proliferate, to create a story. Instead of calling this a solid object, I am calling it as, hey, Vilas was sitting there and you know how he was talking. I think he talks very well, etc., etc., etc. is a papancha. So, yam papancheti tam purisa. Purisa means the person. What does he do? Papancha sanya sankha. Sankha is to add it up, sum it up, to expand it. So he'll start giving titles, designation, definition, conceptualization, all that what is required. On what? He will say yesterday, today, tomorrow. And what does he do? He will now say this I with the sight. I saw it yesterday. It was so beautiful. Today I'm seeing it. Tomorrow also I'll be seeing it. And start running behind it, which is called vitakka. And that creates vichara, to think. Vitakka vichara is to think and ponder, think and ponder, think and ponder over it. So you create an imaginative state where it seems that everything is looking the way you think it should be. And that's an illusion. That is where the ghana sanya is. That means you feel solid about it. Everything is solid. It's real. Now you cut it. How do you cut it? You cut it by knowing what really it is. So you do a indriya samvara, then you will come to know that, oh shit, it is actually vitakka is a wrong thing, savitakka is the right thing. So you do savitakka with the Dhamma object. That is, you take a Dhamma Vishaya and then see. That creates the vichara on the Dhamma. When you come into the savitakka savichara, you get into the second jhana, which is piti, because now you are joyful. No conditions. Why? What will you create a condition for nose and tongue, mouth and ears, hole in the ears? It's space element, not your space element or my space element. It is just space element. And that's it. Teeth. You also have, I also have, even animal also has, but it's made out of solid. So what patavi I can hold? So the manyana is gone. So in like explained in the Mula Paryaya Sutta, we need to remove the manyana. Manyana is to consider, this is mine. That if I drop it, then you get piti. Once you get piti, that is joy, get sukha. Sukha, because wherever you go, you only see the space element. What else will you see? There's no you. So the I now doesn't go and proliferate and doesn't create a story. So the mind that doesn't do anything of that. In the chitta, nothing of these arises. When nothing of that arises, it's peaceful. Etan santan, etan panitan, yadidam sabba sankhara samato. So when the sankharas are not there of these six senses, it is samatha, tranquil. That is what this is all about. Meaning the savitakka, savichara, piti, sukha, ekagata. So now you become one. What do you mean by one? Consciousness which is going in six direction is no longer going. You have stopped the flow. Now you can watch with peace. Then you have nibbida, viraga, nirodha, upasamaya, abhinyaya, sambodhaya, nibbana. That's a totality of experience. I don't know how far I could explain it, but this is what it is. We can try it out one day sooner. Tomorrow we can practice it. What I am saying, you will find a difference between the usual way of closing eyes meditation and this meditation. Exactly using the sutta, like in the jhana sutta, you can practice it and you will see the difference. You can do it tomorrow.
So basically what you are saying is Vittaka Vichara is there, but not usual Vittaka Vichara, but the trained way of or modified way of Vittaka
Or the
Vichara.
yoniso manasikara way of vitakka vichara. Yes, Ashutosh, one question from you and I'll close it.
Okay, sir. So I want to ask you, can we take help of other books like Yoga Vasishtha or Patanjali Yoga Sutra or Vedanta to have a better understanding of Buddha Dhamma?
You will commit
Because
suicide.
yeah,
You can take a rope and commit suicide.
It will be helpful, but if you know the difference between different words,
Not only
because
words.
everyone has different words and different terminology.
See, Ashutosh, I am aware of Yoga Vasistha, I am aware of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, I am aware of Vedanta. But I have never got confused. If you are able to stay like that, fair. If not, you are short circuiting it. When you short circuit it, your equipment will get blasted. You don't know how to fix it back. Be careful about that, especially Yoga
In,
Vasistha.
in
So,
fact, even reading Tripitaka, if you go on internet, everyone has different English translation of.
exactly that solving itself is a
Yeah.
problem.
Even Sankhara has different words. Someone call it choice, someone call it preparation, someone call it reaction, someone. So everywhere you have to be,
correct.
you have to know that this guy is calling preparation, it is Sankhara. This guy is calling choice, it is
And
Sankhara.
some people call it as volitions. Yes, Arya, go ahead.
Yeah, I've just want to share this analogy because everyone's trying to climb the mountain, right, in spiritual path. So it's that like when you're climbing, you're always going to argue because you're seeing different things. But if you're able to experience and be at the top, then there's no confusion. Then you can start talking different things. That's fine. But until you're there, if you're taking different people's testimony from different side of the mountain, you're bound to get confused.
Yeah,
It is very daring. It is very daring task. I have attempted it, so I know it.
Ashutosh, the thing is, I understand that you are interested in all of these philosophies. It's good philosophies, but you have to decide what you want. It's nothing wrong with any one of them, including Visuddhimagga. But you should know how to steer your boat. It looks interesting, especially I will tell you if you are got and get stuck in Yoga Vasistha. You don't have Vasistha Maharshi to come and tell you like what he did for Rama, and neither you are Rama to explain to you. So you are dead meat because you are stuck. Okay. Now, if you go by Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you start to see, imagine lot of things, and that teacher Patanjali will not come and say, "Hey Ashutosh, now what you have seen is not wrong." And every translated book of Patanjali Yoga Sutra gives you a different dimension, different understanding, different things. If you read B.K. Sayangar, he explains in one tangential way. If you take some other persons, it goes in another way. If you take, there is one lady called as Ramani, she speaks in a different way. There's so much of explanation. This Ananda, that Ananda, you get so many of them. Ramkrishna Mutt also has this Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Like Aurobindo Ashram has Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Everybody defines Patanjali Yoga Sutra, so you don't know which one to take. Unless you are a Sanskrit scholar, whom you don't require any one of this interpretation, straight from the text, you can say that, this is what I understand. Then fair. So that is gone. Now, why do you want to add so many sausages unless you want to make a pizza? So you be plain and green. Take Buddha Dhamma if you really wanting that, and don't add any ingredients. No seasonings, no that flakes and all that. No sausages. Simple.
Sir, I want to follow only Buddha Dhamma because I am a yoga teacher, so I have to study all these books. So that's why I have read it.
No. You are a yoga teacher. I appreciate you read, but don't take it too seriously and start comparing.
No, I'm yes, correct.
See, the problem with reading is you'll start comparing why it is said like this and like what Sachin Bahade is asking. When you see something, like I see something on YouTube, no matter how much I say that I will not agree with it, but somewhere it pulls. Why is he saying like this? There should be something, right? He's not a mad guy to say like that. Yes, Aryu.
And I have friends who follow different schools. I mean, different teachers, and obviously, there's often saying contradicting things. But she said, in my mind, there's no confusion because everything is when everything's empty, and she makes that kind of thought and to cover up that the doubts that she has and pretend everything's has no conflict. But in reality, it completely confuses her, and she cannot move anywhere.
Yes. And that's a danger with all of this because it's philosophy. Buddha Dhamma is not a philosophy. It's not a philosophy. Either you will get it 100 or you'll get 0. There's no in between. You get it, you get it. Otherwise, but in a philosophy, you can't say you don't know. You can't say you know. If somebody asks you, don't you know this? You say, I know. But how to do it? That is what even I am also searching. And that's the problem. Like if I go by the Samadhi path, I can also explain beautifully. But since I had this experience of Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi to myself, so I know till what level it will go. Then it makes sense because I have exactly worked like that. Then there's no confusion.
Actually, what Buddha said is just the practice only, right? Whatever Buddha said, you have to contemplate in meditation. Nothing is philosophical. Nothing is for
Yeah, there
explanation.
is absolutely no philosophy. Like in Dhatu, what philosophy is there? Where is the philosophy there? He says, please see. Yatha bhuta
Practice.
jnana darshana. That means you see things as they are, not as vilas. You see like bloody hole here, hole here, hole here. And he gives that. What else you expect him to give? Right? But in Patanjali, you show me that. No. You have to either believe, first thing, or you have to then add another thing called as what? Imagination. Keep on imagining. Pramana, vikalpa, viparyaya, nidra, smritaya. These 5 things you keep on doing. Pratyaksha, anumana, agamaha, pramanani. Okay? Viparyayo mithya jnanam atad rupam swarupam. Now you solve and tell me how it works. Now atad rupa has happened, that is other way has happened. What is unreal has become real. What is real is gone. Now you tell me how you want going to do it. That is viparya. That's a problem. You get text, you get prescription. You will not get medicine. In Buddha Dhamma, you will not get prescription, you get medicine. Now you take the choice. But being a yoga teacher, I can't slap you and tell you don't do it. Enjoy, okay, but don't take it too seriously and don't try comparing between philosophy unless you have experienced it completely. And it is beautiful because you will see better than Buddha Dhamma to attain the 8th jhana. Yoga takes you faster.
It is good for samatha.
Yes, it's beautiful. Ashtanga yoga is beautiful. It's faster and you can do it in just 7 days. Just 7 days. Not more than
Then
7 days.
practice of yogasana is also calming your mind and giving you samatha.
No, that is from what is that? Hatha Yoga Pradipika. That is not in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. But if you follow the Patanjali Yoga Sutra completely, in 7 days, you will attain Kaivalya Pada, including all that vibhuti what is spoken there. To do it properly. Whereas Buddha Dhamma takes long time, but it is complete. But it is fast, quick. It's like going to a fast joint.
But also 7 days for some suttas too. for Buddha.
Yes, I know it, but here the thing is that it talks about Neya and Pada Parama and all that. In that, there's no distinction. You sit in one corner 7 days, you will get it.
7 days is guaranteed by Buddha, provided you don't miss even a moment.
Yes. Anyway, so different tradition, different way of doing, all takes you to 8 jhana, including Buddha Dhamma. All takes you to Anagami, difference. The Anagami of the Upanishad, the Anagami of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, and Anagami of Buddha Dhamma are totally different. This Anagami is suppression of the 8 jhana, and whenever it comes back, you don't know where it is going to get established. There's one sutta which Buddha explains between what the other traditions are and what his.
And in that way, those are not real anagami. They're just same state. You cannot say they're anagami.
That is Anagami in that tradition. I'm again repeating, in that tradition. When you fall down here, will you fall down? No, because you are an Anagami. You can't come back because there is no Abhijja and Vyapad. You know it very well. So where is the question? It doesn't arise in the Chitta. Where will you get established? For sure. That's the difference. 8 jhana is 8 jhana. Turiya is Turiya. Absolutely agreed. No second thoughts.
We are comparing those conditions, whereas we are not have a power to compare. Compare this infinite time you will stay in that realm. By that time, hundreds of suns comes and go, and you come back. And we are saying what is good and what is bad.
Exactly, which looks stupidity. Actually, first you go and establish, then we'll talk about.
For us, even that is better.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I agree on that point of view. That should be the contention at all.
Almost we are comparing to infinite.
It's infinite only, right? Eva sanya na sanya ayatana is infinite. Yes.
Yeah, except, I mean, when you come back, there may not be Dhamma anymore. Just say
We don't know anything, right?
Real.
When you come back, it is asankheya. That means you can't even count on your fingers.
Yeah, but it said in the last however many eons, there's only this many Buddha, right? So it's a lot of the time there's no Dhamma
That's
available.
fine.
So when you come back,
We need not to worry about that.
It's a lottery. It's like going to Las Vegas and then playing that roulette game and seeing that whatever you wanted comes and it comes. Oh, I came back. Otherwise, you're lost.
Yeah. Provided, I mean, probably you will be so bored there that you will love to come back and love to even stay in hell.
Maybe can happen. Okay. Good night then. Oh, yeah, again, raise hand. Yes.
Okay, sir, one last question. As we are discussing about all the traditions, what Buddha says is that the nature of the law, he talks about the law of the nature. So in all the, like in Patanjali Yoga Sutra or maybe in Yoga Vasishtha, I know that as you are seeing that all the great people are giving a different kind of way to attain nibbana or the state of anagami, but the law of nature is the same. The cause and condition works everywhere in the same manner or in a different manner.
Same manner, but you should know how to get it. So in what happens here is that either you have to go by sasattavada, that is, you have to now create a creator, because you don't know how to get there, right? So you have to imagine a creator, which is also good. So it takes you to some extent. So I have a God, so I believe in the God. So when I believe in the God, I do some things which I'll create some moral. So then I'll go into the 8 jhana. That is same, irrespective of whatever it is. Or I will go to sasattavada, uchchedavada. That is, nothing exists after this. To do whatever you want.
Like in Digha Nikaya Sutta, Buddha has also explained this. People are having different kind of perception. All the
Correct. Now, when you have this kind of thinking, everything has a limitation, including the Buddha Dhammas, the jhana has limitation. Buddha says, don't go by establishing it, thinking that it will stay. So he says that even this is a limitation. The Chula Shunyata Sutta, after the 8 jhana, he says limitation. 9th jhana also, he says, oh, senses remains, vijnana remains. Why? Because it has limitation. So at that moment, seeing the dukkha, you will drop it. Like in the Vedanta, you have a pot and a clay. By practice, you can drop the pot, not the clay. What's a practice to drop the clay? Because as long as pot exists, clay is going, as long as clay exists, pot are going to be made. As long as consciousness exists, life will be there. So Vedanta talks about leaving the pot, holding the clay, so becomes Sasattavada. Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya. Jagat you have removed, but Brahman you have kept it. So as long as this you keep it, rebirth is guaranteed.
Correct. Buddha talks about no self, and here in Vedanta talking about the one self.
Yes. One self. But it is still a self.
Correct.
So if you take gold and an ornament, you might drop the ornament, but you will not drop the gold. You take this pot, you drop the pot, but not the clay. But in Buddha Dhamma, pot is also broken, clay is also gone. The consciousness is also gone, name and forms are also gone. Right? So what he says, Nama Rupa Samudaya, Vijnana Samudaya, Nama Rupa Nirodha, Jnana Nirodha. So this pot and clay. Yes, through Vedanta, through Yoga Sutra Patanjali, through whatever means, through Yoga Vasista, I am ready to let go of this. 8 jhana. Go of this. This, I don't know how.
Yes, you are right. This is the basic difference between Vedanta and Buddha Dhamma.
Now he says in the Dhata Vibhanga Sutta, coming till here, Pukkasati, drop this. And he drops.
Anatma. Buddha is talking about Anatma and Vedanta is talking
He's
about
not talking
Atma
about
as
Anatma. Sorry, he doesn't talk about Atma at all. See, that's another fabrication that they've translated into Atma. In Buddha Dhamma, there is no concept of Atma, Anatma. He only talks about Dukkha, Dukkha Samudaya, Dukkha Nirodha, Dukkha Nirodha Gamini. He doesn't get into this picture of saying that this is this and that is that.
Anatta is
No,
not negation of Atma. Anatta does not
like
mean not Atma.
I am talking about Anitya, Dukkha and Anatma.
There's
Is not
nothing called
Anatma?
Anitya. That Anitya is Anicca. There's nothing
Okay.
called Nitya Anitya. In Buddha Dhamma, there's nothing called as Nitya Anitya.
Everything is Anitya.
Anitya.
Everything is temporary.
Anicca, not Anitya. Anyway, tomorrow we'll take this up. Otherwise,
Okay, tomorrow we'll discuss.
we'll
Yes,
discuss.
it's already for 10:40.
10:40 and I need to go to office tomorrow. So tomorrow, anyway, after come back, no office. Therefore, tomorrow I'm fully free. 8:30 we are again meeting in the morning. So tomorrow we'll take Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta.
Thank you so much, sir, and you have given so much time, and so many concepts are clear. So, thank you so much for
Okay,
your
good
time and
night.
your guidance.
Yeah,
Good night, sir.
Dardan, we couldn't give you a chance to talk. Sorry about that.
No worries. I enjoyed listening to this conversation. So thank you.
Yeah. All right. Good night and good evening to you. Bye bye and good morning. See you. Bye bye.
See you.